Welcome to Everyday Yoga. My name is Christine. My pronouns are she and her, and this is a recording of a live class given over Zoom. We today are opening up the front of the body. We are opening up the throat. We're opening up across the heart. A lot of us have a lot of tightness in the front of the body from kind of being hunched forward or being under stress. So we're going to open that up. And at the same time, we're also going to do some practices that can help us release into the low back. So that being said, let's go ahead and come on down to our backs. And as always, any props that you have available to make your practice a little more accessible for you, go grab those now before we get settled in. Sorry, I've got cat hair on my lip. Any blocks, blankets, and today especially, you might want a nice thick pillow or two, or a bolster if you've got one, or you can fold up a couple blankets or towels or something. The reason being, we're going to do child's pose later on, and sometimes it's kind of nice to be lifted in that posture. So gather whatever you need to gather. And then we're going to come on down to the yoga mat. We'll have the soles of the feet planted on the mat, knees pointing up towards the sky. And right here from the beginning, let's just take a nice, big, good morning stretch. Stretch out long through the body, wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Stretch out long through the right side body, reaching the right fingers and the right toes as far away from each other as possible. And then stretch out long through the left side of the body, toes away from fingers, getting long. And then once again, come back to center, balance things out, reaching toes and fingers away. Inhale here, and as you exhale, let's go ahead and bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the earth, open up the arms into a nice wide T, and we'll just windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Just getting a nice massage across the back of the body. And as you do this, you might begin to link up your breath with the movement. So as your knees go to one side and your gaze goes to the other, you can exhale. And as you come back to center, knees and gaze towards the sky, you'll inhale and then exhale to the opposite side. And go ahead and just slow it down and really savor the contact of your back on the mat. Really focusing on the massaging sensation. Knees can go as close to the floor as feels good to you. And when you feel balance through both sides, let's go ahead and hug one knee and then the other in towards the heart. Coming into Apanasana, wind relieving pose, which is always fun. Because it does happen. I've been in yoga classes where people have passed gas while we're doing other postures in yoga too, but this is a really good one because of the compression on the low belly. So it happens. One of the beauties of practicing at home with a YouTube video. And then go ahead and hang on to that left knee and let the sole of the right foot come down to the mat. Now, if the left knee or left shin is not accessible, you can always interlace your fingers behind the left thigh. But whatever you do, don't put any direct pressure on that knee. We'll just interlace those fingers right here. You might point and flex your left foot a little bit. Maybe make some ankle rotations in one direction and then the other. Give that knee a little hug and just let the weight of your arms settle the femur into the hip socket, and maybe rock the leg a little bit from side to side. So we've kind of lubricated the ankle, and now we're lubricating the hip joint. And if it feels nice to you, you might inhale and send that right leg out long, pointing the toes up towards the sky. And if you want to make this a little more active and you have a little more space, you could flex the toes of the left foot as well and really find the opposing forces between pressing the sole of your right foot away as you draw your left knee a little bit closer in towards your heart. Take a nice big breath here, inviting it deep into the belly. And then release and let it go. One more inhale, and then as you exhale, draw your right knee back up towards your heart. And then let the sole of the left foot come down to rest on your mat as you interlace your fingers behind your right thigh or around the right shin. Maybe you switch the clasp of your hands, bringing your opposite thumb on top, your non-dominant thumb. You can just let the foot be soft here for a moment, rocking the hip, rocking the leg bone in the hip here from side to side, rotating your ankle in one direction and then the other, pointing and flexing your foot. And then maybe hug that knee in a little bit closer towards the heart. Staying here nice and soft, just letting gravity and the weight of your arms draw the knee close in. Or you can extend out long through the left leg, press into your sole of your left foot, flex the right foot, and find that nice stretch across the groin here, drawing the feet away from one another. Another full breath right where you are. And then one more inhale. Exhale, draw the knees back in towards the heart. Give your feet a little bit of give your legs a little bit of a hug here, maybe rocking from side to side once again. And then let's go ahead and find some gentle pelvic tilts here. Imagine your belly, your low belly here is like a clock face, and your belly button is 12, pubic bone is 6. We got the 3 over here on the left hip bone and the 9 on the right hip bone. So just bring your hands to your belly and rock your hips forward and back, your pelvis, pressing the low back towards the mat, dipping the 12 down towards the mat, and then arching the back, lifting the small of the back from the mat, dipping the 6 down towards the mat. And then just like a bowl, your pelvic bowl, you just rock forward and back, releasing the low back. Maybe a gentle engagement of the glutes here as you press the low back down to help release the hip flexors in the front of the body. So our glutes tend to get a little soft and our hip flexors tend to get a little tight from all the sitting we do. So we want to counteract that by releasing the hip flexors as we engage the glute muscles a little bit here. And then you might stay with this rocking here, or if it feels good in your body and it's okay for you, you can press your palms into the mat on either side of the hips. Press the triceps and the shoulders in, and inhale as you lift the hips from the mat, opening up into a bridge, engaging the glutes again. Just gently here. It doesn't have to be really strong engagement, although it certainly can be if you want to have that experience today. But notice how when you do engage the glutes, the front of the hip flexors release a little bit, and that can release some of that low back pain. Let's take another couple of breaths right here. And the next time you exhale, roll one vertebra at a time back down to your mat. Let's go ahead and roll on over to the belly and come into tabletop, finding a few rounds of cat-cow here. As you inhale, drop the belly, draw the tailbone up, open the gaze. Exhale, round the spine, chin to chest, belly button comes in towards the spine. Inhale, drop the belly, draw the heart forward. Exhale, round the spine, draw the belly button up, really dip that chin in towards the heart to release the neck. As you inhale into cow, you might bend the elbows and tuck the toes. As you exhale into cat, press the tops of the feet and all 10 fingers to the mat. One more round here. And then let's draw the hips back towards the heels and come into hero's pose. From here, if you're wanting to do the supported version of child's pose, grab your bolster, and I've got a big thick bolster over there I could use, or I could take my little bolster, or I could maybe stack a couple bolsters, but find something that brings your upper body up to a level where you can hold this child's pose for a few moments. And you just kind of tuck the pillows or the bolster down between those thighs, and you can turn your head to either side to begin with. We're going to switch sides and come into that nice wide-legged child's pose. Big toes together, upper body supported. And again, you can have a thicker bolster or a thicker stack of pillows here to lift the upper body even higher. If it feels more comfortable in your body and you have the space, you can go ahead and remove the supports and let the heart and forehead sink down to the mat, letting the forearms be soft here. As you're here in child's pose, invite the breath deep into the belly. Maybe shift the hips from side to side a little bit so you've got plenty of room for the belly to expand as you inhale. Expanding across the pelvis and the low back. And soften and release as you exhale. Couple more breaths like this. Big, big, big inhale. Full and complete exhale. Noticing all the places that expand as you inhale. Noticing all the places you can soften and relax as you exhale. Two more breaths right there. And then as you next inhale, press into the hands, rise back up into tabletop. And let's come to sit in a nice cross-legged seat. So let's start with the right leg in front. And again, you can be sitting up on a pillow or a bolster here so that the hips and knees are supported and have a little more space for the knees to come all the way down to the earth. We're gonna find that nice tall spine here. Again, inviting your breath deep down into your belly, expanding into the hips, expanding the low back. Let's inhale and raise the arms up alongside the ears. Exhale, hinge up and over the thighs, any amount, but just make sure those sit bones are still anchored. If your sit bones are starting to lift here, go ahead and release the hands down to the earth. And if you have blocks available and it's more accessible for you to use the blocks so that you have something to press your hands on, go ahead and put those right in front of you here. Press your palm to blocks or to the floor and kind of push gently into the floor so that you can send the sit bones even more connected down to the floor. That didn't make sense. Press those sit bones down towards the earth and breathe into that low back, low belly. After a breath or two, you might find you have a little bit of space to walk the hands forward. Again, press into the hands, pushing back onto the hands, rotating those upper arm bones so that the shoulder blades come down the back, and pressing the sit bones towards the back of the mat, breathing into the low back. Next time you inhale, go ahead and walk yourself back up to a tall spine. If you didn't have a block nearby, go ahead and grab one at this point. I'm going to use mine on the medium setting. If you have the space, you might bring your forearm all the way down to the floor or to your mat. But I like to bring it right up to the block on the medium setting. We're going to take that left forearm so that it is parallel with your front shin, which is the right shin, and rest it right on top of the block or on your mat. And we're going to take that right palm and gently press into the thigh, finding a little twist as you draw the right shoulder back and down. Just looking over to the right for now and breathing into that low belly, low back. Notice where you can send the breath to expand. Notice where you can soften as you exhale. If you have a little more space and you want a little more sensation, you can press a little bit more into that thigh and turn your gaze a little farther beyond that right elbow. Finding a little bit more of a twist and breathing deeply into the low back and the low belly. Let's take 2 more full breaths right here. Maybe the last time you exhale here, you might do that with a nice big sigh. One more inhale and then exhale to come back to center. Press into the thighs to come back to your tall seat. Let's go ahead and switch the cross of the legs, bringing the left shin to the front. Inhale, the arms up high to the sky. Exhale, draw the heart forward, hinging at the hip creases. Lower the hands towards your blocks or to the floor whenever you feel your sit bones begin to lift. And then use the pressure of your hands to press the sit bones back. Breathing into the low back, expanding the belly, expanding through the hips. Maybe walking your hands forward as you create a little bit more space back there. Releasing that low back. And then we're going to take our block on the medium setting once again, and it might be the high setting, might be to the floor for you, depending on how much space you have, and bring the right forearm parallel to the left shin as you gently press the left palm to the top of the left thigh and turn to look left, getting a gentle twist here. Oh my gosh, my back just had a great pop. Maybe you even heard that. Breathing here. If you have a pop, if you get a natural chiropractic adjustment and it feels good and doesn't hurt, great. If you're hurting yourself, of course, stop, back off, find a little more relaxing posture here. But this can be a really great way to give yourself those self adjustments, not looking for them and trying to get them, but if they happen, right on. And if you have a little more leverage, you might press a little more firmly, twist to look back beyond your left elbow, draw the left shoulder back and down. Couple breaths here. Notice where you can send the breath to expand. One more inhale. Exhale, rotate back to center, bring your hands to the mat and walk yourself back up to that nice tall seat once again. So now we're going to come back to the back again and we're going to open up the heart, the chest, the front of the body. Again, you might want to use pillows to find a supported fish pose here. So there are a number of ways we can get into supported fish. You can use your same bolster or stack of pillows just like you did in our child's pose. And you might play, I'm using two just to show you, you can improvise, you can come up with a situation that works for you. But if you're using pillows, stacked blankets, bolsters, you're gonna butt it right up here against the tailbone. And you're simply going to lower yourself down to be supported here in fish posture. You might start with your knees bent, feet on the floor, opening up your palms to the sky, finding your support right here. Another way we can get into a supported fish posture is to use a smaller blanket or a smaller pillow or blanket, or even a block, and bring it right across the shoulder blades. Sort of at the part closest to the waistline is about where a bra strap would be, or at the bottom of the shoulder blades. And this way you can let your throat open up, letting the back of the head or the crown of the head, depending on the height of your block or bolster, let that open up, opening up your arms, opening up your palms to the sky. This might be a great place for you here. If you don't have any supports, or if you don't want to use them, you'll come all the way down to your back, bend your knees, soles of the feet on the earth, rock your knees to one side and the other, and as you do, tuck your hands underneath your sit bones, or actually underneath your butt cheeks if you want to, your buttocks. So you're basically sitting on the backs of your hands. Your index fingers, your thumbs might be touching here. We'll send those legs out long to give yourself a little bit of leverage here. Bring the big toes together and press into the balls of the feet like high-heeled shoes. Inhale, tuck the chin, press yourself up, look at your toes, and then draw those elbows underneath you for that support to replace the bolster or the block. And then open up across the throat, letting the crown of the head rest down to your mat. Breathe here across the chest, across the collarbones, across the throat. Whether you're supported with a bolster or block or your own hands here, you can have your legs out long like mine are, or you can have the soles of your feet on the mat, knees touching to support one another, coming into constructive rest knees.
Or you might want to take Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together and sending the knees out wide. So find the posture that works the best for you. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. As you inhale, notice what expands, and maybe bring to mind something or someone or someplace that you appreciate. Something you can feel the feeling of gratitude and appreciation, maybe love. Just using that external experience to invoke that internal feeling of gratitude, appreciation. And as you breathe your 5 breaths here, let that feeling flow throughout your body, releasing dopamine and serotonin to recruit your parasympathetic nervous system to help bring your body back into balance. After you've found your 5 full breaths here, gently lower yourself all the way down to the mat, coming off whatever supports you're on, maybe rolling to one side or the other, or simply pressing yourself up and lowering yourself back down. And then we'll come into our final Shavasana. You might bring, if you've got your bolster or blankets handy, you might bring them under your knees or your lower legs to find a little bit more support for the low back. But as you rest here in your final Shavasana, letting everything balance back out. We've done a lot of front body openers. We've done some back body openers. We've done some twisting. We've extended from side to side. We've stimulated all of our adrenal glands and all the little pits of our body around our neck and our knees and in our ankles, everywhere. So now we're letting everything come back into balance. All of the blood vessels, everything open, expanded fully. And maybe bring back to mind that appreciation, or better to say, bring back to your body the feeling of appreciation, the feeling of gratitude. And just notice where you feel it, what might change, how your energy changes. And as you let that sensation flow throughout you, deliberately soften and relax your fingers and toes, letting your hands and feet be heavy, solid to the earth, heavy through your lower legs, your thighs, your forearms and your upper arms. Let your hips and your low belly be soft and heavy. Let your shoulders and your heart be soft here. Your skull, your jaw, your cheeks, your neck, your throat, your eyes, and across your forehead. Just let everything rest, recharge. Be with yourself here at home in your body. And like any home, it's all worn in, you know all the places, you know which steps to avoid because they make a creaky noise, and you know which doors need to be firmly pushed shut. We have the great privilege and pleasure of being in partnership with these bodies. Maybe as you feel this feeling of appreciation, you can turn some of that to yourself, to your body, to your emotions, to your intellect, to everything that is you, even your spirit. Just some love and appreciation for yourself and for all that you experience in your life that's brought you here to this moment. Let's begin to wiggle those toes and fingers, rotate wrists and ankles, and find another good morning stretch. Big inhale here, exhale, bend one knee and then the other, and let your knees come over to your favorite side. Rest your head to your bottom arm and use your top arm to give your thighs a little bit of a hug here. Maybe bring to your mind's eye the picture of a smile. And if you like, maybe even physically inviting that smile to your beautiful face. When you're ready, press yourself back up to a nice tall seat. Let's finish in Dandasana, toes pointing up towards the sky, legs extended out long in front of you, spine tall and strong and beautiful. Lift your heart, draw your shoulder blades down the back. Let's inhale together and reach our hands up towards the sky. Bring your palms together. Exhale, bringing your hands right down to meet your heart. May you have peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, and peace in your hearts. Namaste.